Okay, going live today. Good news with DACA. Um, it's been a while, actually, since I've been on a live. I haven't really been very, how you say, encouraged to come on and do a live. But this is great news, you guys. We got to spread this news, and hopefully, people don't think that this is like just a false hope, false, fake news or something, because it has been a while with DACA, right? It's been a while. So I'm going to lead with the good stuff if you're not watching this live. But then we're going to get into it a little bit, talking about DACA, where DACA came from, and then back around to what the current status is. So if you've been following DACA, you should know that only renewals have been allowed. That initial applications have been, that there was a short window of time where a lawsuit allowed to, where the lawsuit that was in process, USCIS had to allow new applications to be filed. It was around 2021. And then that window closed really quickly. And so since 2021, no new applications have been allowed. And a new application also counts if you let your DACA go more than 1 year. So that becomes a new application. And so since 2021, if you let it go for a year for whatever reason, or maybe you finally turned 16 and were eligible for DACA, or maybe you just have never gotten around to filing for DACA. Ever since 2021, you were not allowed to even file. And we've had our clients that did file during that open window. They've been waiting since then. So took the fingerprints and have just been held until the courts decided what they wanted to do. So last night, I opened up my Facebook, as good immigration attorneys do, to figure out what's the latest in immigration land, and realized that there had been a new development in there's several different DACA lawsuits that are ongoing still, but the biggest one that's in Brownsville in South Texas in federal court, that the government filed a response to the court, essentially saying that they are no longer going to argue that that what's been filed in Texas also applies to other states. There's different reasons for that. A lot of attorneys are starting to chime in on why they're doing that now and how that's going to affect other cases, not necessarily immigration, but there's definitely strategy. Like, the other side's not going to do something unless there's a reason to do it. So let's talk about DACA. The good news is that so in that filing, I've got distracted. Sorry about that. In that filing, they said essentially now, effective immediately, USCIS is going to now process those applications that have been pending. That means if you had your fingerprints done, there's nothing left to do. Just wait. Hopefully you've kept your address up to date, because the next thing will be a work permit coming in the mail, unless you live in Texas. Sorry for those who are in Texas, this does not apply to you, because that lawsuit is now just going to cover those. The pause on DACA is only going to cover people who live in Texas. So maybe think about moving out of Texas. I lived in Texas for 6.5 years. I understand why people are like all in Texas. Like, if you're from Texas, like, you think it's your own country. You never want to leave there. And so I totally get it. But Texas is not good to immigrants. So this is another reminder that, like, if you want DACA, and I'm curious now, like, what it's going to mean for renewals for DACA in Texas too. But anyways, I digress. So based on the filing that the government filed with the court yesterday, they're basically giving up the fight against DACA. Unless it's Texas, of course. So that means that if you had your case pending, hopefully you've been updating your address, and your work permit should come to you. However, I'm sure they have a bunch of them. Which is why I encouraged people to file back. There are a lot of people that got on me for encouraging people to file, and this is a long game. Sometimes it's not like a quick turnaround, and so people criticize those attorneys who encouraged people to file when there was that open window. We we got criticized because people are like, why would you encourage somebody to do that? Like, they're just going to close it back down. Like, they're not going to get it. You're just trying to take their money. Like, no, here's how it works. Once everything like shakes out, and they decide that they're actually going to process these, like, it's first come, first serve. So the people that are already in line, the ones who filed first, they're going to get their work permits first. So yes, it did matter. It does matter. And so I feel vindicated a little bit, but anyway, it's not about me. So though they're going to start processing those, and anyone who didn't file at that time, if you're eligible now, and we'll go over those eligibility requirements here in a minute. If you're eligible now, do it now. Of course, always talk with an immigration attorney. We're happy to talk with you. We have a free discovery call process where we'll review your situation and make recommendations. Maybe there's something better than DACA for you, or maybe it's not a good idea to file for DACA. Maybe you've got some criminal history that's either open or closed, or who knows. We will let you know. That's all part of our free process. So make sure that you are taking those steps, because like, hopefully it doesn't close again. We're under Trump. So when it closed, it was under Biden. So it was all politically motivated, of course. But now's the chance. Now's your chance. Let's talk about where DACA came from. I started as a legal assistant in 2000, and even back then, they were talking about the DREAM Act. They were trying to get this through Congress to help these kids who came here, because if you poll anybody in the U.S., like the group of people, the group of immigrants that most people are in support of giving them some kind of status, are the dreamers. They just are, because who can be mad? Who can be mad at a kid that got brought here by their parents when they were 1, 2, 3, maybe even 10 or 13, whatever? If they were under the age of 16, they qualify for DACA. So this is the group of people that, since the time that I started working with immigrants in 2000, it was this question of, but this is so unfair. These kids, I knew people even, because I was like in my early 20s when I started working with immigrants. I'm going to give my age away now, but and I had friends that did not know that they were not U.S. citizens until they went to graduate from high school, tried to get a job, tried to go on to college. They realized they didn't have a social security number. They couldn't do anything. And so who can fault these kids? So there's tons of support, tons of popular support around the DREAM Act. It kept coming around through Congress, and nothing was ever getting done. It was never getting done, never getting accomplished. And so Obama finally in 2012 said, hey, enough of this. Like, I'm actually going to do something about this. And so created DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. 2012, June 15th, 2012. It was like a month and a half before my baby was born. So I was like hugely pregnant and thinking, oh my God, this is big. This is the biggest thing since 245I, which happened right when I started in December of 2020. Sorry, December of 2000. This is big. This is huge. This is going to help so many kids. And it did. It really did. So the requirements are, as they were then, and they still are now, is that you had to have been under the age of 16 when you entered the U.S. You had to have entered the U.S. before June 15, 2007. So 5 years before the announcement, which was June 15, 2012. So be here for at least the last 5 years continuously. You need to have also been here when the announcement was made on June 15, 2012. You need to have either been in school currently, or have graduated school, or be working, have received a GED. Then from there was also, like, you had to be under the age of 31 at that time. So it's a very, limited group. You're talking about people who were brought here as kids before the age of 16, who went to school here or who got their GED, and were under the age of 31 and didn't have specific crimes. And there's a list of different crimes that can disqualify you from being eligible for DACA. And so 2012, it was like Disneyland, the lottery. I don't know. It was amazing for so many kids, so many dreamers. And many of them, were already in their 20s, already working, already doing great things. It just opened doors, because so many of these kids that were brought here, like I was saying, they didn't even know, maybe many of them didn't even know that they weren't from here, that they weren't born here. And that they didn't have status here. And so it started opening these doors for them, right? And we saw even during COVID, the number of dreamers who were working in the medical profession who saved so many American lives, anyways, contributing in so many different ways. There's even an immigration attorney who also is a dreamer. So impacting in so many different careers and places, having families, kids, spouses, whatever. So fast forward to 2016 when Trump took office, and all of a sudden, like, DACA is under attack. And I remember thinking, it's not very smart because so many people support dreamers. Like, what, and people were even talking about like changing DACA and getting a green card if for people that had DACA. Thank you for the comments here. They're starting to come in. If I have DACA already and live in Texas, can I keep renewing? That's the question. We don't know what's going to happen in Texas. If you're in Texas and want to apply for an initial one, you're not going to, you can get deferred action, but you're not going to be able to get an employment authorization document, your work permit. So the question becomes, like, for renewals, are they going to allow these renewals? I think as it stands right now, you're okay to renew it. But the concern is for the future, obviously. So Texas, like, I don't know. I get why people live there. I lived there, but I think it's probably time to look at different options. Yeah, Juan también vive en Texas y tiene DACA. So, ten cuidado, Juan. Mucho está pasando en Texas ahorita. No es un lugar bueno para inmigrantes. Ellos no apoyan a los inmigrantes y vamos a ver qué pasa con DACA en Texas. Entonces, si hay opciones de ir a otros lados, yo sé que es difícil cambiar de estado y cuando tiene trabajo y todo eso. Yo tenía mi negocio en Texas, tenía mi casa y todo, pero decidimos regresar a Oregon y esto sí es difícil. Yeah, so Juan, tal vez es mejor moverte. Okay, thanks for the comments, you guys. And as I'm explaining and talking through the history of DACA, feel free to ask those questions, and I will get to those as quickly as I can. So 2016, Trump started coming after DACA, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is, like, everybody supports these dreamers. Like, why are you going to do this? And it just starts creating so much chaos, havoc, stress on dreamers and their families, because by this point, like 2012 to 2016, already 4 years has passed. Many of these people are already into their 30s, have established lives here, like grew up here, like know this as their home more than they know their home country, speak more English than their native language usually, went to school here, are just they're part of who we are. Like, home is here on so many of those, protest signs. Home is here. This is their home and this is where they belong. Oh, Juan, qué bueno que le acaban de probar hace un mes. Entonces tienes 2 años de averiguar qué va a pasar. So, buena suerte que tuviste. So as Trump was starting to attack it, and eventually did refuse to take new applications, and only renewals were processed. And then at one point they were doing just like a 1-year renewal. Such a mess and so much confusion and chaos. And so you think about these kids that were waiting, who qualified, but weren't 16 yet. You have to be 16 in order to file. We're waiting until they were 16, and then Trump ends it. So all those kids have been, waiting all this time. And then a small window opened in like 2020, 2021, where you could file, but then they closed it again really quickly. So this lawsuit has been ongoing since 2018. 2018, that the government has been trying to convince the federal judges to end the program, end it completely. Like, no renewals, no nothing. The best that they got was just not doing new initial ones. So again, the good news is that yesterday, after like, what is this, 7 years, this lawsuit that's been ongoing for 7 years, for whatever reason, and we know for sure that there is some ulterior motive here, that it's, this case will help them in other ways, in other cases that they need help in. Maybe not immigration, but definitely other things, possibly like citizenship issues. They want, and we saw this earlier with the Supreme Court ruling with the citizenship thing. They didn't decide on the citizenship, the birthright citizenship issue, but what they did decide is that the injunctions, the pauses, you could say, so an injunction is when the court says, like, making an order, we're stop doing this or start doing that. That's an injunction. That only applies to the states that are affected. So in this case, it was Texas that has shown that it has been harmed by DACA, which I never understand. Like, how can they actually say that DACA has harmed the state? But anyway, regardless, that only Texas is going to be paused pending the end of this lawsuit. So the case is still ongoing. The case is not ended. The judge has not said anything about it yet. But what they filed indicates that they are no longer going to fight this for all the states except for Texas. So if you're in any of those states, if you have your DACA, your initial DACA pending, maybe it's been pending since 2021, like many of our clients, then there's nothing to do. Hopefully you have kept your address updated. Hopefully you have done that, because if you already did your fingerprints, there's nothing else to do except to wait to be processed. Hopefully you got it filed early on in that window, because there were, I don't even know how many people applied, but I'm sure thousands that they're going to now have to process. So it's going to take a minute. So don't get frustrated. Don't get worried if you're not seeing your work permit in the mail tomorrow. We all know that is not the way immigration works. But soon, if you have filed that soon, you should be seeing that application, that approval for your work permit, unless you're in Texas. And then sorry for people who are in Texas. Yeah, that is the update with DACA. Super exciting news. I did not expect any good news in this 4 years. Honestly, it's been a lot of bad news, bad changes. But we're gonna call it a win. We're gonna hold on to it and enjoy it and celebrate it. Please make sure that someone was asking me last night on TikTok about advanced parole. Advanced parole is still ongoing. They have cracked down on it, like been a lot stricter on the ones that they're approving. So make sure you're working with an attorney on that application. But advanced parole to then adjust your status through marriage to a U.S. citizen is still possible. It's still possible. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. If you qualify, obviously. if you don't qualify, obviously make sure that you don't qualify. Some people don't. For example, if you have more than one entry, you're not eligible for that. So please don't be filing things that are going to put you into trouble, because if it's denied, you are going to be ending up before an immigration judge, and then your options are much more limited there. Okay, just checking to see if there's any questions. También hablo español, si tiene preguntas en español. Estamos hablando de DACA, felicitando a los Dreamers que han tenido tanta paciencia. Dice Inocencio, ¿qué va a pasar con las aplicaciones que se quedaron congeladas? Gracias por esa palabra, porque estoy usando pausa, pero sí, tiene razón que están congeladas, like frozen. Entonces, esos van a ser las primeras que van a empezar de procesar de nuevo, porque pusieron esa congelación, o no sé cómo se dice, una pausa en el programa por lo que estaba pasando en la corte con la demanda. Entonces, esto, si ya tomaron las huellas, no hay nada más que hacer sino esperar. Así que van a empezar a procesar todas las aplicaciones que ya tenían adentro, y qué bueno que tuvieron los pusieron antes, porque ahora van a aplicar mucho más, porque imagínense en los últimos 4 años cuántos más niños han cumplido los 16 años y ahora califican para DACA. Entonces va a haber una lista de espera muy larga, y ya sabemos que ellos no ponen las pilas. Ellos procesan como gustan. Entonces, tiene que esperar, tiene que tener paciencia, pero si ya sacó las huellas, lo que hace falta es esperar que llegue el permiso de trabajo si no vives en Texas. Y espero que has estado cambiando su dirección, o sea, cada vez que cambie de domicilio, que está avisando a inmigración sobre su nueva dirección para poder recibir a tiempo su permiso de trabajo. Así que espero que te ayude. De nada, inocencia, mi placer. Si tienen preguntas, hay que entender que tenemos un proceso completamente gratuito que en nuestra oficina puede llamarnos, programar una cita de descubrimiento para averiguar cuáles son sus opciones. Tal vez tiene otras opciones mejores que DACA. DACA es algo, no es permanente y hemos visto que juegan mucho con los derechos y emociones de los Dreamers. Así que si hay algo mejor, hay que saber. Hay que entender cuáles son sus derechos y nosotros en ese proceso gratuito, nosotros procesamos, averiguamos, revisamos toda la información de su caso. Un abogado revise esa información y le avisamos cuáles son sus opciones. Si no hay opciones, pues le decimos. Pero si hay opciones, hay que saber cuáles son sus opciones y empezar una de ellas. Así que van a aceptar nuevas aplicaciones. Daisy, sí, eso son las nuevas noticias de anoche, que ya no van a estar peleando. Tienen una demanda en la Corte Federal de Texas desde hace 2018 para amparar los casos y ellos acaban de presentar argumentos con la Corte diciendo que ya no van a estar insistiendo que es para todos los estados como antes, que solamente es para los casos de Texas. Entonces, lo siento mucho, personas en Texas, pero ya no van a poder, bueno, no sabemos si van a poder renovar, pero no van a estar incluidos en esa nueva oportunidad de mandar sus aplicaciones. Así que si no has hecho tu aplicación, tal vez no tenías 16 cuando abrieron, cuando había una ventana muy cortita, muy pequeña, muy así. El tiempo limitado para presentar su caso de DACA. Si no tenía en ese tiempo, si no presentó su aplicación en ese tiempo, puede hacerlo ya. Y recomiendo hacerlo lo antes posible, pero hay que confirmar con un abogado de inmigración que sí califica. Entonces, nosotros estamos aquí, no hay costo, no hay compromiso, podemos revisar su situación y le confirmamos si califica o no. Un abogado va a revisar su situación y avisarle si califica o no. A. Vasquez, 49, said, hi, I couldn't renew my DACA, 2 years expired. Can I apply? I'm from New York. I think so, because once, if it's expired that long, you are considered a new applicant. And so that was like the problem, right? People that accidentally, or maybe they had like a criminal situation and they were worried about renewing. So they didn't, and it lapsed, and they haven't been able to reapply because that's considered a new application. I think you're going to be able to wait for confirmation on that. But to me, it seems like, yeah, definitely that you should be able to do that. And you're not in Texas. So seems like yes, but call us and we'd be happy to take a look at it. We're all still waiting for confirmation. This has not even been announced by USCIS. This is just from court pleadings that were filed yesterday in that lawsuit in Brownsville, where they're saying like, we're not gonna follow this argument anymore because it doesn't benefit them anymore, because now they have other cases where they want the injunctions to be narrow. So like, for example, the Supreme Court case about the citizenship, birthright citizenship, they liked that result. They liked that it's limited to those states that those states that filed the lawsuit and not to all the United States. So, José, buenos días. ¿Cuándo empiezan a recibir las nuevas aplicaciones para DACA? Han estado recibiendo las aplicaciones desde hace 4 o 5 años, pero lo que pasa es no pudieron procesar, entonces los tenían congelados, gracias al señor que me enseñó esa palabra. Los tenían congelados porque no podían, debido a la demanda, no podían procesar las nuevas aplicaciones. Así que ya están, ya puedes solicitar y van a empezar de procesar los que aprovecharon hace 4 años cuando estaba abierto y han tenido sus casos congelados. Ellos van a ser los primeros para recibir sus aprobaciones, así que como procesan en el orden de recibir. Entonces, ya se puede empezar de procesar. Llámanos para confirmar, por favor, porque ya no estamos en el tiempo de Biden, en el tiempo de Obama, estamos en el tiempo de Trump. Y todo ha cambiado y si haces un error pequeñito, vas a estar frente a un juez tratando de evitar deportación. Así que llámanos primero para confirmar si calificas y si puedes, usa un abogado para hacer la aplicación, para que puedes confirmar que todo está hecho bien. Miriam, la aplicación de mi hija se quedó pendiente cuando cancelaron. Ahora, ¿qué debo de hacer? No hay nada que hacer, Miriam, ya está adentro, ya está en proceso. Espero que ya le sacaron sus huellas, entonces no queda nada más que confirmar que tienen la dirección correcta. No sé si ha cambiado de dirección, pero si lo han cambiado, hay que informar y esperar hasta que le llega su permiso de trabajo. Va a ser válido 2 años, igual como los demás, y va a poder renovar si no ha tenido problemas de delitos. Entonces, felicidades, Miriam. Espero que con esas noticias que vayan a celebrar, comer unos tacos o algo, una quesadilla, me da ganas. Fernanda, mi aplicación fue en el 2021, igual como muchos de nuestros clientes, y si fue a las huellas, van a procesarlas. Entonces ya tienes todo hecho listo, solo tienes que esperar. Y no sabemos cuándo mero exactamente, vuelvo a repetir, eso no ha estado anunciado por inmigración, por UCI. Si subes a las redes de ellos, no vas a ver que están anunciando esto. Esto viene de algo que presentaron en la demanda federal, en la Corte Federal apenas ayer, el 29 de septiembre. Entonces están cambiando de sus argumentos porque les conviene en otros casos. Entonces vamos a ver que va a afectar a otros casos en maneras que no nos gusta. Así que tenemos que aprovechar de esto que sí nos gusta, que sí nos conviene. Hay que solicitar la DACA ya. A ver, había una pregunta. ¿Cómo se hace para cambiar la dirección? Tienes que subir a la red y someter el formulario AR11. AR11. Perdí la pregunta. ¿Qué pasa si fuiste rechazado la primera vez porque saliste del país? Los mismos requisitos de antes son los mismos requisitos ahora. Entonces, si no calificabas antes, tampoco vas a calificar ahora. Lo siento mucho. Son muy estrictos con sus requisitos. ¿Usted en qué estado está? Estamos en todos los estados porque la ley de inmigración es ley federal. Entonces podemos ayudar a cualquier persona en cualquier estado. Nuestra oficina, tenemos un equipo de 15 personas, pero la mayoría de nuestras personas no están en la oficina que tenemos en Oregon. Estamos 2 horas sur de Portland. Entonces nuestro formato, se puede decir, es como virtual. Porque tenemos muchos clientes en muchos estados y en todas partes del mundo. Entonces, por eso tenemos un equipo internacional para ayudar. Entonces, llámanos 541-653-8899. 541-653-8899. Sonia quiere saber, hola, ¿ya van a abrir DACA para nuevos jóvenes abogadas? Sí, es lo que estamos hablando. Son las buenas noticias hoy. Tenemos que celebrar porque tenemos ¿cuántos meses tenemos con Trump? Casi 10 meses y no hemos tenido excusa para celebrar, pero ahora sí. Ellos, por motivos de que les va a beneficiar otros casos, Vamos a ver cuáles les va a beneficiar, pero ahora están diciendo que la pausa del caso, de los casos nuevos, solo afecta a Texas, no los otros estados. Eso es algo que anunciaron en su demanda ayer, el 29 de septiembre, así que esperamos pronto que van a anunciar en UCIS que ya están aceptando nuevos casos de DACA. Y la verdad, han podido recibir, no están rechazando nuevos casos de DACA, solamente que no han podido aprobar. Han procesado los casos y las personas que solicitaron en 2021 tienen sus casos congelados esperando y ellos van a ser los primeros que van a estar recibiendo su DACA aprobada. Mis hijos entraron en 2017 y ya no entran, ¿verdad? Sí, tenían que haber entrado antes del 15 de junio de 2007. No sé si nacieron en ese año, pero ¿qué costo tiene la consulta? José, la consulta es gratuita porque es un proceso con nuestro equipo. Nosotros tomamos su información, a una de nuestras abogadas revise su información y le diga si califica o no y qué es, y luego le informamos cuánto es el costo. Es muy, muy rápido. Si llamas ahorita, vamos a tener su respuesta en 2 días. Entonces, estamos martes. Antes de terminar la semana vas a saber cuál es su opción y cuánto le va a costar. Entonces, tenemos un equipo listos, un equipo listo para ayudarle ahorita. De nada, José. Gracias por sus preguntas. Flor, lo siento mucho que no, sus hijos tienen que, esto es un alivio, like a fix temporaria. No es lo que de verdad necesitamos para los niños, los niños inmigrantes. Pero es algo, entonces hay que aprovechar si califican. So I had just a whole series of questions in Spanish. That's why I've been answering, speaking in Spanish, but I also speak English. So if you have any questions, I'm an immigration attorney. I have been working with immigrants since 2000. That was literally 25 years ago, is literally when the term dreamers came about, because the DREAM Act was starting to circulate through Congress, and I've lost count of how many times it's gone through trying to get that passed by Congress. Finally, Obama in 2012 was like, forget it. Like, I'm just going to do an executive order announcing this program. And so created DACA, and then Trump came and started messing with it. And ever since, like 7 years ago, we've had this lawsuit that put new applications. So you can't apply for DACA until you're 16. And so all these people who did meet the other criteria but weren't 16 yet, they couldn't apply. There was a small window open in 2021. Is DACA being revoked in Texas, Manny? We don't know that. What we know is that you can't file for initials there. So we don't know. We don't know if renewals are still going to be ongoing. I think it's going to have to depend on the result, the end of this lawsuit that's been ongoing since 2018. So, Manny, really, like, if you're in Texas, why? I'd really like to hear an argument for Texas. I know people in Texas, like, they love their Texas. I lived there for 6 years and I really didn't get it. I was happy to move back home to Oregon, but that's home for me. So if Texas is home for you, like, I get what that feels like to have home and not want to leave home, especially if you're already established and you've bought a house, and like, property in Texas is so cheap. Like, the house that we got here in Oregon compared to the house we got in Texas, like, no, there's no comparison. So I totally get it for those reasons. Like, you have your family there, you have your work there. It's hard to just pick up and leave, but it's getting harder and harder to be an immigrant in Texas, to the point where I'm very concerned for clients that I have in Texas. I'm concerned for your safety. So I don't know, Manny, if it's going to be revoked, but I'm very concerned about the status of of DACA and just in general, immigrants in general. Mi hija tiene 19 años y está en colegio, vive desde los 5 años en este país, podría aplicar. So, haciendo cuentas, si ella tiene 14 años aquí, a lo mejor no, porque a lo mejor llegó en unos 2011, tiene que haber llegado aquí en junio 15, antes de junio 15, antes del 15 de junio de 2007. Entonces, haciendo cuentas rápidas, parece que su hija no va a calificar, lo siento. Sí, entraron en 2013, casi en 2014, pero como dije, fueron rechazados por salir del país. No entiendo bien, Osvaldo. Tiene que haber entrado en 2007, el 15 de junio. Monica, I had DACA and I let it expire in 2015. Can I apply again? Probably. I'm a little bit hesitant on it, but as I'm thinking it through more and more, they consider those a new application, which have not been able to apply since 2018. So I think so. Definitely talk with an attorney. Call us. We have a free discovery call process. An attorney will look at your information after our team has collected it, and then our team will let you know what the attorney says, what your options are. But if you meet all of those criteria, probably. That's what I'm thinking. I hate to say it just in general as a blanket statement. So please definitely talk with an attorney before you file something, but I think so. Which would be amazing for you because 10 years without status, you had it for 3 years and then you just didn't renew it. And so, Monica, that's got to be so painful to, it's like having the love of your life and then poof, it's gone. Maybe not. I'm not trying to make light of it, but seriously, being this age that the dreamers are, like graduating high school and not being able to have work permit, not being able to, some schools won't even take you without a social security number or valid status. And so I just can't imagine what that felt like to have your status and then lose it, Monica. I hope that you can apply as soon as possible. DJ Pablo Mix. Tengo DACA desde que lo trajeron, estoy casado, mi esposa también lo tiene y vivimos en Texas. No sé qué decirle, los que tienen su vida en Texas, hay que hablar muy bien, fuertemente. Tienen su DACA y a lo mejor van a poder seguir renovando, no sabemos. Por seguro, las personas que no han tenido DACA y que quieren solicitar la primera vez, no van a poder hacerlo. Así que no sabemos qué va a pasar con las renovaciones. Monica, yeah, I know. I'm a citizen and I was born here. And so I say that I can like feel it, but I know that I cannot feel what you're feeling. But I can imagine how much you regret it. And I don't know what your circumstances were at that time, but a lot of people like let it expire because they couldn't afford the filing fee maybe, or because they had some family situation, emergency or something, or maybe they got into some trouble, or maybe they were just arrested, wrongly accused of something, and they didn't feel safe renewing their DACA while that case was ongoing, and then the time passed and they were just out of luck. Eve, how long do you need to have DACA for you to ask for advanced parole? One day. Like definitely be looking for advanced parole options for advanced parole, especially if you're considering getting married to a U.S. citizen or you're already married to a U.S. citizen. It is a very, very good way to make it easier to get your green card. Otherwise, if you don't have that legal entry of the advanced parole, let me just explain it. The way that the advanced parole works is that if you can show that there's a legitimate reason that you need to travel, usually back to your home country, but it doesn't have to be, and it can be education or urgent humanitarian needs. So it could be like to visit a family member. I've had people go because they need like medical care that they can't afford here. And, or some kind of educational experience. So you can convince them, and it's been pretty easy. Lately, they've been getting a little bit stricter about it, but in the past, it's been pretty easy to get it. Once you travel and you come back, it doesn't matter what your first entry was. Now, if you had multiple entries, then you're probably not going to be able to use this. Make sure you talk with an immigration attorney before you even apply for advanced parole. But if you have DACA, you can apply for advanced parole today, and it's taking about 9 months to get it approved. Then once you leave the country, you come back, you have that legal entry, and now you can apply to adjust your status. Whereas before, if you didn't have a lawful entry, you needed to get a waiver approved, leave the country to consular process. It's like a 4 to 5 year wait time process, very expensive, not guaranteed. And then you're outside the country, unable to come back if it's denied. So definitely be taking advantage of advanced parole. There's no requirement on how long you've had it. Just go ahead and do it. Okay. I'm losing track. What's happening to the ones in 2021? That's the great news, is that those ones are first in line. So all the people that were coming at me for telling people to apply and telling me that I was just trying to take people's money, no, like I knew that the long game, the end game, like you have to play the long game with immigration. Nothing is overnight. Nothing is tomorrow. It all takes a long time, but eventually it shakes out. And so they were receiving those applications. They've still been receiving them. I've still been encouraging people to file if they want to, if they had the money to invest in it, because they put them in line. So if you filed first, your application is going to be processed first. Most of those people, they already did their fingerprints. And so now they've just been waiting for the go ahead from the government to start processing those again. So all of those are going to be processed first. So I don't know if that's you, the one that asked this question, but if it is, make sure you've updated your address with USCIS. You can do that on the website with Form AR11. Make sure that is accurate, because somebody else is going to get your work permit, and you've waited a long freaking time for that. If you had a DUI back in 2020 here in Texas, it was my first offense and I got it dismissed. Can you renew without any problems? Talk to an immigration attorney, and you're gonna have to leave Texas, because it's going to be considered a initial application, and Texas is not going to be eligible for initial applications. Or wait, can you renew it? So maybe it's not. Sorry, I'm not clear whether you still currently have it. Talk with an immigration attorney, especially with that criminal history. You never did apply before. Can you do it now? Okay, let's review the requirements, because even this morning I was making some videos and I was like, shoot, what are the requirements for DACA? It's been too long. Okay, so first you had to have entered before June 15th, 2007. You had to be under the age of 16 when you entered, and you had to have been here in 5 years continuously. And there's different arguments you can make in case you left briefly. But you need to have definitely been here on June 15, 2012, when Obama made the announcement of the DACA program. You need to have either be studying in school right now, or have graduated high school or gotten your GED. And you need to have been under the age of 31 on June 15, 2012. So basically all the people that are going to be applying now are kids. And then one other thing, you have to be over the age of 16 to apply. And there's certain criminal history that will disqualify you. So these kids who definitely came in before 2007, so by now they would be, let's say that they were 1 when they got here, so maybe 2006. So maybe they're like almost 30. They've been waiting, if they didn't apply, they've been waiting all this time to be eligible. Well, those people actually, that's a bad example, because those people should have applied if they were over 16. But let's talk about kids who were under 16 when the 2018 injunction, the lawsuit took effect. So like maybe they did come in 2006, and in 2018 they were like 12. So they weren't quite eligible. So anybody who is who's eligible, somebody's saying that's one of you. Congratulations. This is fantastic news for you. Make sure you talk with an immigration attorney to confirm it. This is all like brand new breaking news. Sorry, I think I just made myself bleed here. Breaking news as of yesterday, this is an ongoing lawsuit out of South Texas, Brownsville, where I used to live and work. I know the judge there. Actually was in his courtroom when there was another, I can't remember what it was. It was for DAPA. That's what it was. Because after DACA, Obama announced a program that was going to be for parents of kids that were born here. And it was going to be like DACA, but it was called DACA, Deferred Action for Parents of something. I can't remember what the A stood for. But anyways, there was a lawsuit against it. I was there in Judge Hanen's courtroom in one of the hearings, and that ended up just disappearing and didn't go anywhere. So anyways, as I was saying, this has been an ongoing lawsuit. Yesterday, the government filed arguments in court to say that basically, like, whatever happens in this case is only going to apply for Texas. And so right now, the temporary injunction, this pause, this freezing of not being able to take new applications, that only applies to the other states, not Texas. So that's what's going on. The ones from 2021 in Texas will not be processed. Actually, I take that back. They're saying that they will give them deferred action, but no work permit. But honestly, like, what good is that? Well, actually, I take that back. Actually, as I'm thinking this through, like, if you get deferred action, if you get DACA without the work permit, of course, you can't work, but you could still get advanced parole. And then you could use that if you're married to a U.S. citizen and get your green card. So there's a number of different ways to do this. Make sure that you are talking with somebody who has experience in this, because like I said, like, I've been doing this, I've been working with immigrants 25 years, as an attorney for 15, but still some of this you have to kind of like think through. So this is going to be evolving. This just hit the news like yesterday. So give it a minute. Let us get our bearings on it, but definitely be taking advantage of this if you're eligible. Jump on it. Monica, when can we apply? Like right away. They've been accepting them since like it reopened. They just haven't been able to process them. So I'd file them now. All of the people who've been waiting since 2021, they'll get processed first. You applied in 2013 and never got anything, and it says pending from 2013. Have you had an attorney take a look at that? That seems not right. When will they revoke the permits in Texas? They're not talking about revoking them yet. And in fact, like, you'll be able to get the deferred action just without the work permit. Is DACA back? All these people jumping on. I know, you guys, this is big news. DACA is back. Like, initial DACA applications are back. It's not on the USCIS website yet. Actually, I haven't checked this afternoon, but so don't come at me if it's not there yet. This is information that the government filed with the court yesterday, saying that they are no longer arguing that this injunction that the court put there, it's no longer going to be applying to all the states. So they are going to instruct USCIS to start processing these applications. We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know how many applications there are. Maybe somebody does. I don't know if that data is out there, but I would say like probably a good couple 100,000 that are like in process, that have been waiting, held in abeyance. So those ones are going to be first. So yes, welcome to the party. We are celebrating the return of DACA. You can file now. Is this official or not? And like I said, it's you're not going to see it on the website yet, but soon, probably in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see it coming up. But you can apply. They've been accepting them. They've not been rejecting them. They've just not been able to process them yet. Yeah. So Mary, go get your advanced parole, and then your husband can file for you, and then you have your green card, and then you'll get your citizenship, and then you can vote, and you can turn all this stuff around. Like, that is my mission right now, is getting as many people to citizenship before they change all the citizenship rules, so that we can all vote and change. Like, if we don't vote, if we don't have voters, nothing's going to change. Your records might be lost. Go see another attorney. That's bogus. Yes, you can call us 541-653-8899. We have a whole team ready to take your information, have an attorney look at it. It will literally take you like 2 days. We'll get back to you. let you know what your options are and tell you what it costs, blah, blah, blah. There are people waiting like weeks and months to talk to immigration attorneys. I hate that. I hate that for you. So we completely changed the way that we do everything. It's very streamlined, but it's very fast. You will get that information before the end of the week. You will know your options. So definitely, please give us a call, 541-653-8899. Nos puede llamar. Tenemos un proceso muy rápido porque he notado que los abogados de inmigración están ocupadísimos. Entonces, y eso no me gusta porque hay urgencia, necesitamos ayuda ahorita. Entonces, en nuestra oficina lo que hacemos es tomamos su información en una llamada breve y la abogada revise su información. Si necesita más información, le avisamos. Si no, le avisamos en 2 o 3 días cuáles son sus opciones y cuánto cuesta. Entonces, vas a saber qué se puede hacer y luego empezamos su caso rápido. Todo va muy rápido en nuestra oficina porque yo no tengo paciencia y entiendo que tampoco ustedes no van a tener paciencia. Han tenido tanta paciencia que ya se le quita las ganas de esperar más. Así que llámanos 541-653-8899. You can go also to, I believe, all the information, the contact information is on the profile, 541-653-8899. Can I already apply for DACA? I had TPS Honduras, but I qualify for DACA. Talk with an attorney about the benefit of filing for both. You're going to pay double. And both are a work permit, and you can get advanced parole through TPS too. So talk with them about whether it benefits you to have it'd basically be double coverage and double payment. But I can think of some reasons why you might want to have both. So definitely talk with an attorney about that. We'd be happy to talk with you about that. 541-653-8899. Okay, so mucho que decir, mucho para celebrar. Seguimos la lucha, mi gente. Yo soy latina, soy muy güerita, pero mi corazón está latina, entonces yo digo que soy latina y ustedes son mi gente. Y yo digo que tenemos que seguir luchando, tenemos que seguir peleando. Este país es su hogar. Este país es su derecho y todo lo que han hecho en los últimos 10 años más o menos, jugando con los niños, jugando con el estatus legal, diciendo que les van a deportar a todos, dando pesadillas a las familias, eso me disgusta tanto que yo estoy dispuesta a ayudar donde puedo y quien pueda. Así que si tienen preguntas, estamos aquí, tenemos un proceso completamente gratuito. Vamos a revisar su situación, vamos a decirles si califica para DACA, TPS, lo que sea, residencia, ciudadanía, lo que sea. Encontramos opciones porque existen opciones y no me gusta que la gente está desmayando tanto. El país todavía no se acaba. Todavía tenemos el país y este país fue fundado por inmigrantes, fue hecho fuerte por inmigrantes y va a seguir siendo fuerte solamente con el apoyo y la ayuda de los inmigrantes. Así que necesitamos averiguar cómo hacer un sistema que funciona, porque nuestro sistema de inmigración no ha funcionado en décadas. Yo tengo desde 2000 trabajando con inmigrantes en inmigración, desde 2010 como abogada de inmigración y no ha funcionado jamás. En esos 25 años no he visto muchas familias sufrir, he visto muchos casos negados donde no debe de negar. He visto muchas personas deportadas a un país que no conocen. Eso no es justo y mi misión es ayudar los más inmigrantes que puedo, porque son mi gente. Vuelvo a repetir, aunque no tengo sangre latina, siento que en mi corazón hay algo latino. Entonces, yo siempre digo que los latinos son pura corazón, así que si solo trata de corazón, yo soy latina. I just went on a whole rant. I don't know if I can translate all that, but I'm calling out to the Latino community. Please don't give up. Please do not give up. This country was made great by immigrants. I consider myself Latina, even though I don't have any Latin blood in me, unfortunately. But my heart is Latina, and I'm calling out to mi gente. Please don't give up. Please do not give up. This is an example of how it's a long game. You have to be patient. You have to wait. You have to keep fighting. All of the protesting, all of the things that people have done to support dreamers and to push this through. Tarde o temprano, like sooner or later, like it all works together for our good. And so my mission is to make as many citizens as possible in order to vote, because the vote, as long as we still have a democracy, as long as our votes are still legitimate, like that is how we change things. And I believe that America's been made great by immigrants. I don't know why there is so much hate against immigrants right now in our country. I don't understand it, because all of us, every single one of us, unless you are 100% native blood, you are an immigrant. You have immigrant blood in you. My ancestors came from Europe. I wish they would have come from Central or South America, and then I would actually have some less sunburn issues on my skin. But anyways, I say all this to say, please don't give up. Please keep pushing. Please take advantage of the opportunities that we have now. Please call us. My mission is to help as many immigrants as possible. And if it's not with DACA, we'll figure out something else. There is usually something there. I don't care how many attorneys you've talked to. If you dig deep enough, there is something there. And so I can't guarantee they're going to find things for people. That would be false advertising. But what I can say is that we do not give up. We do not give up. We keep looking. We dig deeper than most attorneys do. We have a very fast process in our office. You will know within the next 2 to 3 days whether you have options or not. We'll take your information, an attorney will review it, and we will get back to you, and you'll know like how much it costs, the whole thing. You will know that. We're Tuesday today. You will know that by the end of the week. And so please reach out, 541-653-8899. We would love to help you. Happy to help. If you came in January 2010, no, you don't qualify. You have to have been here June 15th, 2007. You have advanced parole at TPS Honduras, but you've been off work. Call us about TPS for Honduras, and we'd be happy to talk with you about that. I got to jump off, you guys, but I'm going to come back as soon as we have more information. I'll be back sharing that. Check out my videos. Trying to keep those updated as well. Please go hug somebody. If you're not an immigrant, please go hug someone. Make them feel like they belong, because they do belong. Su hija tiene 13 años, llegó. No. Si tiene 13 años, no llegó antes de 2007. All right, guys, I really do got to jump off. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. Please share this information, and I'll be back.